Good evening, I'm Adrienne Arsenault.
And I'm Andrew Chang. Tonight, Canada has its first death connected to the coronavirus.
Our condolences go out to the family.
Should Canadians stop gathering in large groups?
Also tonight, what a reeling oil price means for Canada.
We're working on some responses right now.
The view from Ottawa, Alberta, and Newfoundland.
Harry and Meghan make a final royal appearance.
And we continue our series on domestic violence.
I didn't think I was going to make it out that day.
Tonight, an inside look at a system that's helping victims. This is The National. The coronavirus contributed to global economic shockwaves today, but its impact was also felt here in Canada in the most personal of ways.
An elderly man in British Columbia has died as a result of the disease. And this country's first fatality came on a day of dramatic developments. We will get to Italy, where the outbreak is so bad, the entire country is now on lockdown. We'll get to California, where more than 200 Canadian cruise ship passengers are heading to quarantine, and to Washington, where we've learned that Donald Trump has had potential encounters with the virus. But let's begin with Tina Lovegreen in BC.
The man lived in this senior's care home.
He was a man in his 80s, and he had a number of underlying health conditions, unfortunately. So in that risk group for people who are more likely to have severe disease with this.
Families with loved ones at the center are understandably worried.
This is absolutely my biggest fear, is that someone would pass away from this virus, and that, that it would come to his care center. That's my biggest fear, because he is the least able to fight it off of anyone I know.
So far, her 88-year-old father with dementia isn't showing any symptoms, but he's got a compromised immune system and is considered high risk.
I just feel so helpless because we can't remove him from the facility or go there. 2
healthcare workers at the center have tested positive for the virus. So has another resident. Many more are being tested.
First, our condolences go out to the family. But I want to reassure Canadians that we have our top medical experts, our top scientists on this issue.
Officials are closely monitoring other care homes too. Healthcare workers often move around, working at multiple facilities.
There's obviously elements of concern for your own health and your own well-being, but also too, I think caregivers feel a great duty of obligation and service to the people that they look for.
The worry in BC is amplified by what's happening in neighboring Washington state. Of 22 people who have died there, 19 lived at this long-term care facility.
And the responsibility for all of us is significant to not go out when we're sick, to not work when we're sick, to not go to school when we're sick, but also to not visit care homes.
BC now has 32 cases, though the province's health minister says very few have required intensive care. Tina Lovegreen, CBC News, Vancouver.
Now we have Dr. Susie Hoda joining us. Just to give us a little bit of perspective, you're an infectious diseases physician. For those of us who have loved ones in care homes, does this news, should this make us reconsider or act differently?
You know, the key here is for people to be aware to not visit their loved ones in care homes and other healthcare environments when they're feeling sick. That is when you can put people at risk who might be the most vulnerable to getting quite ill from this infection. Which
makes perfect sense. But what if you're not even sick and you're just worried, okay, hey, maybe I should just play it safe, in the same way that there are advisories, maybe you shouldn't be traveling or reconsider where you're traveling?
That kind of advice around travel is based upon the fact that we don't know what's happening across the world, and in fact things are changing so rapidly. The risk level in different parts of the world is higher than it is currently in most of Canada. Right now in the majority of Canada, there isn't community transmission of COVID-19. So, I think that there isn't a blanket statement to say you shouldn't visit your loved ones at this moment.
So in this country, we've crossed so many major milestones along the way. I mean, many weeks ago, there was the first imported case of this virus. There's been a case of community transmission. There's been a first death. Does this fundamentally change the way you see the progression of this virus?
Unfortunately not. I mean, I think this is something we've always been aware could happen. So I think, unfortunately, when the virus gets introduced into populations where people are vulnerable, we will see deaths. And so we just have to be prepared to deal with that.
Okay. Dr. Susie Hoda, thanks very much.
Thank you.
And tonight, we are learning 31 people have tested positive for this coronavirus at a nursing home in the Seattle area. The home has been at the center of the outbreak in Washington.
Well, fear of the coronavirus was one factor in today's global market sell-off, but the other catalyst is a burgeoning price war among major oil-producing countries. This means enormous potential damage to Canada's industry and the provinces that depend on it. Here's why it's happening. The oil cartel OPEC has been in talks, along with Russia, to keep oil production low. For years, that arrangement stabilized world prices. But now, an about-face. The Saudis said they will turn on the taps and drag down the price of crude. Today, tumbling oil stocks led to a worldwide market slump. The TSX, heavily weighted in the energy sector, fell by more than 10%, worse than any day since 1987. So between the oil collapse and COVID-19, there are fears of a possible recession and a big hit to government revenues. David Cochran has the outlook from Ottawa.
They rang the bell to open trading in North America, with alarm bells already ringing in markets around the world. Even without the coronavirus, it was not a day for high fives.
Canada is on the brink of a recession, but this government pretends that everything is fine.
The virus spreading, oil tanking, the stock market sliding, and the Deputy Prime Minister insisting Canada is prepared.
Canada's strong fiscal position means we have the firepower to support our economy, and we will.
This latest jolt is sparked by an oil price war between Russia and Saudi Arabia that is dragging down the rest of the world and sideswiping a Canadian economy already slowed by COVID-19 and rail blockades.
There are tens of billions available. There's plenty of fiscal firepower, if we want to use that word.
Even with a large deficit and a growing list of challenges, this former federal budget official says Canada is in a strong position.
We're not talking about the 2008 financial crisis. We're not on that scale yet. So, but I think we've learned lessons from everything from SARS to the 2008 financial crisis.
So the financial room to help is there, but how will Ottawa use it?
We're working on some responses right now. So I think what you'll see from us is a continued approach where, as we have measures that we think are appropriate to roll out, based on the facts, we will do so, and you'll see some things this week.
So no specifics, just plenty of assurances to help. But while Ottawa has the capacity to respond, the real challenge is at the provincial level, especially in oil-producing provinces that have been struggling long before this latest price shock. David Cochran, CBC News, Ottawa.
So lots of concern tonight in Newfoundland and Labrador, where oil is now a pillar of the economy. And in Saskatchewan, its single biggest industry is resource extraction. But no province depends on oil like Alberta. Carolyn Dunn has the view from there.
A devastating day in the gleaming capital of Canada's oil patch. The price collapse has wiped out large portions of value from some of the biggest energy players. Suncor's share price is down nearly 18%, CNRL down more than 29%, and Cenovus lost more than half of its value. That's billions in wealth gone in a single day.
It's catastrophic. I mean, this is as serious as it gets.
Martin Pelche spent his day watching energy stocks hit bottom, devising plans for his clients to ride it out.
You kid yourself if you think this is an Alberta problem. This is a Canadian problem. This has the potential, if not dealt with appropriately and immediately, to send the entire country, all of Canada, into a recession.
Good afternoon.
Just 2 weeks after presenting a budget that relied on higher, stable oil prices, Premier Jason Kenney made clear he expects Ottawa to intervene.
Albertans have been good to the rest of Canada. It's time to see the rest of Canada return the favor.
How? Kenny will meet with federal officials this week looking for job creation funds and relief from payroll taxes for Alberta companies.
We should be cutting our expenses.
Kirk Grimes' well company has survived by servicing older and orphaned wells. Today, he's more than worried about the future.
Now we're in uncharted territory, and who knows where we're headed, but it's just more uncertainty.
The extent of the damage will come down to how low the price of oil goes and how long it stays there. Carolyn Dunn, CBC News, Calgary.
To help make sense of all this, let's turn to Ali Velshi, an anchor at MSNBC, business correspondent at NBC News, and a Canadian. Let's talk oil. We're seeing what a drop in demand means in terms of prices, but can you put some perspective on this? What else might it mean, especially for Canada?
First of all, this didn't have to happen because we've seen a slowing in demand for oil as the global economy slows down. Then we saw a much more sudden drop in demand with coronavirus, particularly from China. But this is about Saudi Arabia and Russia not being able to come to terms on how much oil to produce. And the absence of an agreement from them meant that everybody's now got permission to produce as much oil as they want. Here's the thing. Saudi Arabia can produce much cheaper oil than most places in the world, including Canada and the United States, which rely on something called tight oil. It's harder to get to. Saudi Arabia's oil is much cheaper, so they can afford to see these prices drop. What Canada can't afford is $20, $25, $30 a barrel. Canada struggles sometimes, as does the United States, at $50 a barrel. So what this means is oil producers, if they see this playing out for the longer term, will start to shut production down, reduce production, and lay people off. And that's going to hit Canada particularly hard.
What is it about the anxiety over coronavirus that is so damaging to markets?
It's the uncertainty. It's a lack of leadership. In 2008, when we saw markets collapse and we saw the last recession, the Great Recession, what you saw is governments, central banks, people like that coming together and saying, look, we've got to sustain the global economy, so we'll inject money in, we'll cut interest rates. This feels sloppy. The G7 banking central bankers got together the other day, didn't come to an agreement. Then America cut interest rates. Then Canada followed. OPEC is not doing what appears to be in the world global interest, but rather trying to gain share of the oil market. It sort of feels at the moment like everybody's in it for themselves rather than a concerted global effort to say, hey, we've got a crisis on our hands. We can confront it, and this is how we're going to do it. Fear causes people to make their own decisions, like getting out of the market, like paying less for things, and that's the kind of thing that could tip the world into a recession. Canada's at greater risk because of its reliance on the price of oil for so much of the economy. But right now, it's fear, uncertainty, and a global lack of leadership, Adrian.
All right, Ali Velshi, thanks very much.
The cruise ship industry has sure felt the impacts of this coronavirus, and so have many passengers. Among them, 237 Canadians on a ship that finally docked in California today. Here's Aaron Collins on what's ahead for them after making dry land.
Their ship has finally come in. After days at sea, confined to their cabins, passengers on the Grand Princess can finally see an end to their cruise. Slipping through San Francisco Bay and finally docking in Oakland. The ill were taken to shore first, but news tonight that the Canadians on board weren't far behind. Whisked away to be airlifted to CFB Trenton, unless they're sick.
If they exhibit symptoms of COVID-19, they will not be permitted to board. They will be cared for by the U.S. healthcare system, and our consular services will remain in close contact throughout the duration of their illness.
Canadian officials say that once the healthy passengers get back to Canada, they too will be quarantined. 21 people on the Grand Princess have tested positive for COVID-19, and that fact has officials warning against taking a cruise.
I've asked Canadians to think twice about going on cruise ships. Today, the Public Health Agency of Canada is recommending that Canadians avoid all cruise ship travel due to COVID-19.
But even after days cooped up on the ship, some Canadians aren't ruling out climbing back aboard.
Coincidentally, I'm going to be back on this exact same ship in May of 2021. But this kind of a thing would certainly not deter us from ever getting on a boat again or traveling. Just not that kind of people.
So for the Canadians who were on the Grand Princess, they're one step closer to home. But with medical tests, airlifts, and quarantines in their future, it's not clear how soon their journey will end. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Oakland, California.
Now, tonight, the U.S. president promised what he called major steps to help the American economy through the crisis. Donald Trump has been criticized for undermining scientists and contradicting health officials, but he's also gotten potentially closer to the virus than you might have known. Here's Katie Simpson.
One of the president's favorite events of the political calendar is his speech to CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference. So when it was confirmed that an attendee had been diagnosed with coronavirus, fears spread about who may have been exposed. 4 Republican lawmakers are self-quarantining after they were in contact with the patient in question, including Representative Doug Collins, who greeted the president after that, and Congressman Matt Gaetz, who's been criticized for mocking the outbreak. He also spent time with Donald Trump recently on Air Force One.
Thank you very much.
The president wouldn't say whether he's been tested, but there appears to be little fear of exposure.
The President of the United States, as we all know, is quite a hand washer.
Mr. Speaker,
2 Conservative MPs were also at CPAC, but both were on Parliament Hill today as neither had contact with the ill patient.
I've been heeding the advice of public health officials, and if it's time for not calling on any restrictions.
Liberal MP Anthony Housefather, who attended a different Washington conference last week, is self-isolating after someone at that event was diagnosed. COVID-19 concerns may also lead to drastic measures in Washington, D.C., after a priest at this church who delivered communion to as many as 550 parishioners was diagnosed. City officials are considering an emergency declaration.
To prevent price gouging, to impose curfews, to regulate business hours. So those are just some, and of course, as the mayor mentioned, also to impose quarantine.
The president plans to meet with lawmakers to discuss a possible payroll tax cut and protections for hourly wage workers so that businesses can still function if this gets worse. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
Now, next to China, no country has lost more people to COVID-19 than Italy. 463 lives, including nearly 100 in the past day. And today, the government took a dramatic step, a country-wide lockdown. Megan Williams has more from Rome.
Despite the rising coronavirus infections and deaths in Italy, tonight's announcement by Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte came as a shock. The full lockdown of all of Italy, effectively putting the country's population of some 60 million under quarantine. Schools, theaters, museums, community centers, and all other gathering places closed. People are allowed to circulate. The public transit still operating, but only for proven work or health reasons. 1 person per family can do the grocery shopping. Dubbed I Stay Home, the restrictive measures were already in place in northern Italy, the epicenter of the outbreak. Time has run out, said Conte, and we need to halt the spread of the virus. Provoking riots in prisons throughout the country, with inmates fearing contagion and angry about increased isolation. And deep worry throughout Italy about the state of the economy and pending recession. As part of tonight's decree, Italy is requesting permission from the European Union to relax deficit rules in order to increase public spending. Earlier today, Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte said this is Italy's darkest hour, but we'll make it. Now, with these unprecedented measures, Italy will be put to the test. Megan Williams, CBC News, Rome.
So that's Italy, an entire country now in lockdown. Elsewhere, COVID-19 is forcing organizers of big events to make some tough choices.
These things have implications when we stop.
Should large gatherings be banned in Canada? Just ahead.
So, Michael, how many domestic calls do you usually get in a shift?
Plus, we're with police in St. Paul, Minnesota. Their unique program is delivering swift action on cases of domestic abuse. More from our special series.
The trial begins for 3 Russians and a Ukrainian accused of killing 298 people. The 2014 missile shooting of a Malaysian airliner. We're back in 2.
As this coronavirus infects more people in more countries, large gatherings and events are being canceled all over the world. From the big St. Patrick's Day parade in Dublin to the Indian Wells tennis tournament in California, even the NHL is now considering what the NBA has already been talking about, the possibility of only playing games in empty venues, no fans allowed. So how exactly are those kinds of decisions being made? Health reporter Christine Birak explains.
Toronto had firmly arrived on the world's tech scene.
The Collision Tech Conference attracted 30,000 people from around the world last year. But this year, organizers are moving the event online due to fears over COVID-19.
The decision was made to mitigate risk, to ensure the safety of all people, including the people who live here in Toronto and across Canada.
But in the exact same venue where that tech conference was canceled,
we're expecting about 150 to 160,000 guests.
A week-long home and garden show is getting ready to begin.
The building itself is adding extra hand washing stations or having extra cleaning crews wash the buildings.
Experts say the coronavirus spreads through close contact with sick people and can thrive in large gatherings.
Each of these large events is taken on a case-by-case basis, and we do a risk assessment about who's attending, what the environment is, how long it is.
The Public Health Agency of Canada has posted a list of risk considerations for mass gatherings. Are those attending the event coming from places where there's community spread of COVID-19? Are they part of a group that's at greater risk of severe disease? Or will participants be singing, cheering, and sharing food and beverages? Experts recommend avoiding buffets, moving events outdoors to reduce crowding, or live streaming instead.
Every action has a reaction. There's always risks and benefits. And trying to reduce the risk while trying not to cause any more trouble, like economic, socially, these things have implications.
Health officials insist the risk of COVID-19 to Canadians remains low. But if you are going to a large gathering, try to maintain some distance, about 2 meters between you and other participants. And if you're feeling sick, stay home. Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
Here are some of the other stories we're watching across Canada tonight.
If passed, this bill will make Canada's laws on conversion therapy the most progressive and comprehensive in the world.
The federal government has introduced a bill that would crack down on the practice of conversion therapy, which attempts to change a person's sexual orientation or gender identity. Experts have discredited and denounced the practice in many countries, saying it has no basis in science. The bill introduces 5 new criminal offenses for advertising, profiting from or forcing people into it. And Ottawa City Council sent a warning shot today to the builder of its new light rail transit system.
After being very, very patient, our patience has run out. It's time to give them a real kick in the pants to smarten them up.
Council voted unanimously tonight to issue a formal notice of default to the company, meaning it has until the end of the month to deliver a plan to fix the 6-month-old system or face a possible end to its contract. The embattled transit system has been riddled with problems and delays since its launch, leading to lengthy delays and enormous inconvenience for tens of thousands of commuters.
Well, after the break, we are turning to our special series on stopping domestic violence.
Domestics are always dangerous. You don't know what you're walking into. You're under arrest for domestic assault.
We're inside a Minnesota initiative that's taking an aggressive approach by making it a separate crime.
And later, the Fab Four make one last public appearance as Harry and Meghan prepare to give up their royal positions.
Tonight, we continue our special investigative series, Stopping Domestic Violence. We've been looking at intimate partner violence in Canada and how to stop it. Over the past 6 months, CBC News and Radio-Canada have investigated an epidemic of domestic violence across the country. We've found a system that leaves victims stranded and leaves first responders haunted.
Every policeman, I think, has the cases that haunt them. And for me, one of those is a domestic violence case.
Tonight, how the law responds. In Canada, there are glaring gaps.
We don't have a specific offense in our criminal code related to intimate partner violence.
The federal government is considering major changes.
Everything is on the table right now, and we can do better. We can be better.
And provinces are turning to new tools as well. Several of them are rolling out versions of what's called Clare's Law. It's named after Claire Wood, a woman in the UK who didn't know about her partner's history of violence with previous girlfriends, and she was eventually killed by him. Now, Clare's Law gives police the power to warn would-be victims of their partner's criminal past. Salima Shivji shows us how that might work.
You want to read it?
More than 3 years later, talking about it still takes its toll.
Curly hair like you too.
You feared for your life. Even when you say that, I get chills still. I didn't think I was going to make it out that day.
The hours-long beating at the hands of her ex, so severe, the responding police officer couldn't believe his eyes.
He said other than one woman lying in a pool of her own blood, he'd never seen anybody in that type of state.
That's you walking.
Patrizia Giampaolo found the strength to navigate the court system and press charges. That fact could now help other women because of a new law.
There is still a crisis of domestic violence.
Alberta is one of several provinces implementing Clare's Law. Not only can victims ask if their partner has a history of domestic assault, police can also decide to tell them if they see a risk. One problem, this violence is a notoriously underreported crime. The stigma paralyzes many, especially in minority communities. Humera Falak works with victims to fight that reluctance to speak out. She's also been through it herself.
This is like emergency protection order.
A thick police file for 5 years of constant abuse with 2 kids she feared losing.
In that case, if there is no record, Clare's Law won't really help. But that doesn't mean that it should not be there.
For police, it's a balancing act as provinces are still working out how much to divulge.
We want to make sure that we provide the information in a responsible way, but we also want to balance privacy of the people that they're making application on.
He says there will be extra support to help victims process any information they receive. That's essential for Patrizia Giampaolo. As unsure as she is about how the law will work, she sees it as an important tool to help women trying to find a way out of a vicious cycle of abuse. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Calgary.
Now, the U.S. actually pushed for better approaches to domestic violence more than 25 years ago. At the time, then President Bill Clinton made federal money available to local jurisdictions. And for one Minnesota city, it's made a powerful new approach possible. Katie Nicholson shows us the dramatic impact of the Blueprint for Safety.
So, Michael, how many domestic calls do you usually get in a shift?
Probably say about 4 to 5 a shift, and probably 1 to 2 are probably an arrestable domestic assault. So we're like a few blocks out, but we'll still wait for backup. Domestics are always dangerous. You don't know what you're walking into.
It's 6:28 p.m. We're riding shotgun with Officer Michael Shedd in St. Paul, Minnesota.
It sounds physical, no mention of weapons.
This is the birthplace of the Blueprint for Safety.
Ready?
An innovative domestic violence program so effective that since it started 10 years ago, there's only been one homicide involving a case on the program's radar.
Do you need medical attention at all? Is that all her blood or just yours?
I'm not sure, but I'm fine.
Huh?
Shedd does his part to de-escalate the situation and separates the couple.
You're under arrest for domestic assault.
His partner, Jessica Stiffarm, stays with the victim, running through a special set of questions she's been trained to ask domestic violence victims.
How frequently and seriously does he intimidate, threaten, or assault you? Well, we need to make sure you're safe, right? And we have to understand what went on, why we were called today, understand why you have that much blood in your ear. If I can't contact you, who is someone that's always going to know where you're at, no matter what?
It doesn't seem like the victim in this is too cooperative. She says she doesn't want him to go to jail, but we have enough evidence as far as this. She's got a really bad bloody ear. A lot of the roommates have saying that it sounded like she was screaming, saying she wanted to get out for help and whatnot. So with all the circumstances and the independent witnesses that we have enough to take him to jail, even without her statement, if she doesn't do anything.
Here, if police have enough evidence of an assault, they can arrest a domestic violence suspect, even if the victim isn't cooperative.
Leaving there, even though she didn't elaborate on what happened, just the fact that she knows now that regardless of her not giving us all the details, at the end of the day, you know, I provided my business card and I said I'm on till 2 o'clock. So if you change your mind and you want to talk about it, call.
Barely an hour has passed since the officers responded to the call. Already, 3 officers are writing reports.
The original call comment stated her friend was fighting with her boyfriend. He said he believed the female was in trouble and was being physically assaulted.
And making crucial calls to the domestic violence unit to let them know someone else needs their help.
Just want to notify you guys of a domestic assault incident. So we don't know the extent, like she could have a bust eardrum or anything like that, so we just take pictures.
The victim refused medical help, and the officers aren't sure whether or not her eardrum is ruptured in the attack. To be safe, they decide to go with a maximum charge, a felony assault. He won't be going home tonight.
So it's a pretty fresh assault. These are her own photographs?
The very first thing the next morning, we check in with Sergeant Jim Nash as he briefs City Prosecutor Tara Patet on the overnight domestic assaults.
I'll call his probation officer, because I'm gonna charge this one.
First one right here.
If there's enough evidence, suspects are charged within 36 to 48 hours. And at that time, judges routinely issue them no contact orders to stay away from the victim.
All of us are really working collectively and letting each other know what we need in order to do our role more effectively. And that's had a really big impact on the outcomes of our cases. The research tells us that it's not the severity of the punishment that has the most impact on perpetrators of domestic violence, but the sureness and swiftness of the consequences. And that's really what we're striving for, is to get these people off the street and keep victims and their children and the community safe.
While Patet and Nash work their way through the morning's cases, we head out with another team that's been deployed to follow up with all of last night's domestic violence victims.
Can you go through what happened with this one?
Yes. Took phone.
That's probably why we haven't been able to get a hold of her.
Yep, and strangulation.
Sergeant Michelle Giampolo and a victim's advocate with St. Paul Intervention have to visit 8 homes today.
A lot of them don't know I'm a police officer because I don't dress in uniform, and they like that also because they don't want people knowing that the police are coming to their house yet again. They're thankful because sometimes they don't have a cell phone. Either the suspect took it or they broke it, so they don't have a way of contacting the police. So me going out there provides them a voice to contact and give their side of the story.
How do you know that the work you're doing here today makes a difference in a case?
Just by victim testimonies and knowing that they can get a charge on abuser or maybe get an order for protection or get a shelter or any type of resources that St. Paul Intervention provides. I think it helps. It can change their lives.
Police and advocates weren't always so collaborative. Shelley Johnson-Klein is the matriarch of the St. Paul Intervention Project, which advocates for victims and connects them to resources. She remembers chillier relations with police.
They would turn their chairs and have their backs to us a long time ago. The police used to call us the St. Paul Interference Project, not the St. Paul Intervention. Now we have each other's backs. Now we work side by side. We may not always agree, but we will always come back to the table, and we will always work together for what's best for victims.
Hi, Becky. How are you doing? Very good. Thanks for doing this. How are you doing? Good.
And perhaps no one knows how powerful that alliance has been better than Becky. 7 years ago, her ex-husband became increasingly dangerous after she finally left him.
He started to make threats in the courthouse where we were forced to meet. He'd say things like, you know, I'm going to end you. You know, you're not going to survive this. I'm not going to allow you to survive.
At the time, police drove by her home to let her know they were there and kept tabs on her ex's movements. And so did the victims' advocates.
He had told his brother-in-law that he wanted to drive to my place, either my home or my work, and shoot me and kill me.
Police finally had enough to arrest him. He was picked up with blueprints to her home, a gun, and multiple rounds of ammunition.
I just was surviving and hoping to live long enough for him to be sentenced, and then we would have like a reprieve, a break from the fear. The nice thing about his sentence, even though it was reduced, it got all my children through high school, so they didn't have to worry about attending school and is their dad going to come and murder us? You know, small mercies, you know.
Through the whole 2-year ordeal, Becky knew she wasn't alone.
I was supported. There was somebody at my elbow every step of the way.
342 is out on a CSC. They have the suspect in custody. Violation of a no contact order. Looks like felony level.
It didn't take much. A little teamwork, one singular mission, a few small changes to make such a big difference. Back at the station, the prosecution team decides the victim's wounds weren't serious enough to make a felony charge stick. He gets a lesser charge, and 48 hours later, he makes bail. But now he's in the system and on the Blueprint team's radar. And if he does it again, he could face serious prison time. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, St. Paul, Minnesota.
Just ahead on tonight's program, an unusual murder trial has begun in the Netherlands. 6 years ago, 298 people died in the crash of a Malaysian airliner. Why the 4 men accused of blowing it up are not in court.
And a little later, there they go. Harry and Meghan make their last official appearance as senior royals.
From ordinary fridges
What are we supposed to do with you?
come extraordinary meals. Top chefs compete to give leftovers a makeover.
It's so exciting. The pop of color is really cool.
Fridge Wars, Thursday at 8 on CBC and CBC Gem.
Welcome back. In the Netherlands today, a trial got underway for 4 men accused of murdering 298 people on board Malaysian Airlines Flight 17. It was flying from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur when it was shot down over Ukraine in 2014. Victims' families are demanding accountability, but as Chris Brown explains, without Russia's cooperation, justice may never truly be served.
The trial is happening right next to the runway where MH17 began its doomed flight 5.5 years ago. Family members said they've been waiting a long time.
I do hope the judge had so many evidence on his table that he can come to one conclusion: guilty.
The judges began by stating 4 former militia commanders had been given proper notice, yet none chose to appear, though one did hire a lawyer. All are accused of bringing a missile launcher from Russia into Ukraine, where it shot down the jet, killing everyone on board.
Op dit moment wil de rechtbank opmerken.
The impact of the loss of so many human lives can hardly be imagined, said the presiding judge.
Van Amran, Binwan Hussein.
Then, in a somber moment, the names of all 298 victims were read out loud.
It's very important to see the names and to read the names. That's all we have, though.
Indeed, a plaque in the ground is all that Pete Plo has of his brother. His body was never found.
I think it's very important to hear the evidence they have about, for instance, the role of the Russian state and the Russian army.
What's notable is who's not part of this trial. Dutch prosecutors have not named any member of the Russian crew that they believe fired the Buk missile, nor who gave the order. But this investigative journalist who's helped uncover key details in the case believes prosecutors know the answers and are holding back.
The question is what the political level, when they will stop and say that, like, okay, these people should be responsible. And I think that level will be pretty high.
In response, the defense lawyer used one of the Kremlin's favorite arguments, claiming the prosecution is flawed because the Dutch didn't investigate Ukraine for not closing its airspace. Chris Brown, CBC News, Amsterdam.
We also have an update on Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752. It was, of course, shot down by the Iranian military in January, killing all 176 passengers and crew, including 55 Canadians and 30 permanent residents. Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs says the RCMP is helping Ukraine with the criminal investigation. Ottawa is also calling on Iran to compensate victims' families and to ensure the flight recorders are analyzed without any further delay.
Well, just ahead, a royal entrance and exit today. Harry and Meghan stepped out for their last official engagement before stepping into private life.
I'm Jamie Poisson, and tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast Front Burner, as government agencies battle COVID-19, global markets and oil prices have plunged. Are we headed towards a recession? Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, they won't be called His and Her Royal Highness for much longer. And today in London, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle made their final public appearance as senior members of the British royal family. The CBC's Briar Stewart was there.
It was a grand stage for a final farewell, the last royal engagement for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, a ceremony dripping with pomp and tradition. This is an annual service that celebrates the 54 nations of the British Commonwealth. But this year, some small but noticeable changes. No shaking hands over fears of the coronavirus, and outside, a buzz around a couple about to give up their royal titles.
I think it's a good idea that Meghan and Harry keep the royals and have their own life.
I'm excited seeing Prince Harry and Meghan. That's like all the drama and everything.
And there was drama today too, just before the ceremony. Extra police had to be called in when a protest related to the conflict in Cameroon became violent. Security is always a concern. It's not clear who will be protecting Meghan and Harry in the future, only that the Canadian government won't be paying for it. The security consultant used to work protecting the royal family and says it isn't going to be easy for the couple to get out of the spotlight.
So you are looking at people that are instantly recognisable everywhere they go. Even in the quietest corners of the world, people will know who they are.
In recent days, the couple made a number of appearances, including at a high school where Meghan spoke to students and left one in particular smitten.
She really is beautiful, isn't it?
And while the pair plans to do their own charitable work in the future, they won't be representing the Queen.
Meghan and Harry was clearly marked out as the junior royals who are going to play a really major Commonwealth role. It's going to make a bit of a hole in the royal provision for the Commonwealth.
Because the couple, admired for their charm and style, are making the final royal rounds before March 31st, when they'll walk away on their own. Briar Stewart, CBC News, London.
Well, a New Brunswick woman is giving her former school bus driver a pretty wonderful gift.
He just had a special place in my heart, and when I see that, I thought, why not?
Stick around for the story of Natalie and Pat. Our moment is coming up. Well, these thumbs up and smiles are for a very good reason. Natalie here is giving Pat quite a gift this week, a kidney. He was her bus driver when she was in junior high, and when she saw he was in need, years later, she did not hesitate for a second. Her incredible gift is our moment.
Well, I've got polycystic kidneys, and I've got my kidneys full of all these cysts. My kidneys just kind of like depleted as we went along.
One of my coworkers shared a post that Pat's wife had put on Facebook. In the post, it said that Pat was an O positive blood type, and I'm an O negative. So I thought, well, what the heck, I'll give it a try, because he was my bus driver when I was in junior high and high school, and that's the only way that I know him.
And like she said, I was her favorite bus driver. And
he just had a special place in my heart, and when I seen that, I thought, why not?
I found out my wife wasn't a match. There was tears of sadness, and then all of a sudden now a donor comes forward, and it's tears of joy.
It's the gift of life that you're giving someone, and he's getting his quality of life back. So it's huge. It's huge. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
It was on her bucket list. I'm just glad it was me that her bucket got filled.
Okay, so Natalie and Pat are amazing. I was just making note of some of those phrases in there. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I thought, why not? Good for you. Also, if you believe in destiny, believe in this. Natalie says the match was so close between us, it looked as though we could have been related. They've never seen such a close match other than between people who are related.
Well, and just one more note on how what a small, wonderful, weird world this is. Apparently, Pat is now the bus driver for Natalie's sons.
It's perfect.
Full circle. That's the National for this March 9th. Have a good night.
Good night.